Good morning, friends. As of this morning when I first got out here, the outside temperatures were 38 degrees. So I know that's not too terribly cold, especially for you northerners. I totally get that, but for me, it was cold. I uncovered all my plants because the next 10 days on the forecast is supposed to be over 40 degrees at night, and I don't want the plants just to be like totally smothered with my frost fabric. We're moving on to something exciting because the temperatures are not dangerously cold for the plants. What I want to do is get my strawberries planted out. Now I'm going to start planting out the ones that look like this with all the green foliage, really healthy. I have some that are looking, they're just not taking off quite as quickly, as you can see. So I'm going to keep these ones in here for a little bit longer, but focus on the ones that look like they're ready to graduate to the next level. I can't wait. I keep telling everybody I know, I'm like, did you guys know? We're planting 100 strawberry plants this year. And I'm just so excited by the concept of doing that, and also all of the other fruit trees and bushes and things like that that I plan to do. I want to transform our garden over the next year to really be a system that is providing to us in so many different ways and not just annual vegetables. So a lot of really cool stuff going on, but enough yapping. Let's get these strawberries in the ground. So I'm here at my future or soon to be future strawberry garden. Nothing going on right now. No dig, no till, if just for reference, if you're interested to know what we did for the garden. These are 25 feet rows, so I plan to do about 25 plants per long row. And we're also going to expand it out, basically double it out once I've accumulated enough cardboard. So every Amazon package that I get or anything of that nature that doesn't have a ton of dyes and things like that, I have been keeping so that we can make another extension to the garden. So all I do is I just put a ton of cardboard down, followed by a very thick layer of mulch, and then compost on top. That has been working pretty decently for me in the garden with low maintenance. We don't have any types of like special machinery. Here's all of our onions and things like that. Just for reference, I know people who are current subscribers already know this, but in case you are new here. So I'm going to get the all-star strawberries planted in my new little strawberry patch. Really quickly before we get started, I had 5 artichoke plants planted down this line in the midst of filming, putting up frost fabric, all that type of stuff, getting the strawberry patch all ready to go. I think at least 3 of them got trampled on, unfortunately. I'm hoping that this artichoke plant at least does well. Then we have one all the way back there. I've never grown artichokes before. Let me know if it's a bad idea to have it planted right here this close to the strawberries, if that's going to like totally take over. But I'm super proud of my little artichoke plant so far. I just wanted to show you guys that. For reference, it is suggested if you are planting bare root strawberries, which that's what these are, which are a really good price. I'll include a link to the strawberries that I have purchased down below, but it is suggested before planting to soak them for an hour, the actual strawberry plants. Now, I didn't do that with any of mine, and they're all fine. I mean, I kind of just like go for it sometimes. Not saying you don't have to, because it worked out for me to not soak them, but that is definitely a suggestion. When we are planting these bare roots in the ground, we're going to just plant them up to this little like nodule. There's this little crown right here that you'll want to keep exposed above the soil. I got all the berries in the ground. Now that was ridiculously easy, you guys. If you are wanting to, you know, replace a grocery bill, plant strawberries, especially if you have little kids and you buy berries constantly. Strawberries are super expensive, especially if they are organic, and there is no sense in buying them constantly, which is what I'm telling myself. It just makes no sense. You can buy these bare roots for like $2 a root or something like that, roughly. I mean, sometimes a little bit more, a little bit less. Amazon has a lot of good options. I've seen them on many different websites, but it's a really great way to start taking a hold of your food and start being in more control over where your food's coming from, because strawberries are so easy to grow. And I cannot believe how easy that was, just to think like the 30 minutes of effort that took me is going to pay off like 100-fold in a few weeks. So, or at least I hope so. So moving on, I want to show you guys some of the frost damage that happened. Now, truthfully, I made it out very unscathed, I would say, because of the frost fabric. Now, anything that the fabric was touching closely has a bit of frost damage on it. So I'm seeing some of the blackening and just like the tissue damage from the frost, because there was a few mornings where we walked out and I would tell my son, like, look, it snowed yesterday, you know, it was frost snow, and there was literally like a layer of frost sitting on like the soccer balls and just anything. We were going around finding leaves that were covered with like shimmery glitter all over the place. So that was really exciting for the kids. So we definitely experienced frost a handful of mornings. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen again, but probably will. This tomato plant is a little bit unhappy. I don't think it's anything that it can't recover from. All my spinach is doing really great. All my brassicas are doing really great. I didn't cover any of those as expected. However, I do have a zucchini plant that I'm not quite sure how it's going to make it out of this. So I have this zucchini plant right here that is definitely looking really burnt right now. This year, I wanted to do an experiment when it comes to all of like the warm weather stuff, because we live in Florida. Last year, I just totally only focused on cool weather crops, which I would encourage you to do, because we have a very short window of when we can really grow some of those crops like cabbage, broccoli, everything like that. But this year I also wanted to experiment with treating the winter months like it was spring. Of course, we get really cold temperatures a handful of days, but so far I will say this experiment is working out. Now, I don't have any zucchini to harvest yet. I don't have any pumpkins to harvest. I don't have anything like that. The season is still going, so I don't know if this is even going to be worth the effort. For example, just because the plant is growing, does it necessarily mean that I should attempt to grow it this time of the year and take up extra energy in the garden and space? This plant is growing, it's holding on. It is a sugar pie pumpkin. We do have some little pumpkins growing. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about keeping some of these warm weather crops going in the cold season, if it's actually gonna be worth it in the end. I will say so far my peppers are going on really strong. I am going to cut all of my pepper plants down so that they can be overwintered, just like I did with this banana pepper, and they're gonna look like twigs for a few months. Now, the reason I cut all my pepper plants down, as I talked about in my last video, is to conserve energy for the pepper plant. At this point, they are really just, they're in their dormant state. There's no sense in keeping all their foliage on. Pepper plants are perennial plants. They can last for multiple years. Trimming them down to basically nothing is in your best interest. I know it seems super scary. Come spring, that foliage will come back with at tenfold, and you will immediately start to see that plant wanting to produce fruits, which is super, super exciting, because pepper plants take a really long time to grow from seed to harvest. And especially if you're in one of those colder climates, this is in your best interest because your growing season is so much shorter. Check out the last video I did. I talk a little bit more about overwinterizing your peppers and why you would do that, but I wanted to give you guys an update. My peppers are doing fine after the frost. My poppy flowers are doing fantastic. And here's the issue for me with poppies. I was so excited last year having so many really beautiful, healthy poppy plants. I planted them in various different places of my garden. The plants that experienced like this mystery disease that ultimately killed them off were the black swan poppies. Those ones had no shot at all. The only ones I got to work, I'll put them in here, I don't remember what they were called, but they were kind of like a mix. I got some really pretty pink ones and a few others. This is the scarlet peony poppy. I also have the hens and chickens poppies that are doing really great. Growing poppies in Florida is not natural, I would say, to our environment. So if you want to grow them right now, this is the best time to get your seeds started because we're having those really chilly temperatures. Now, I just did a short on how to sprout poppy seeds. I'll link it if you're interested. But a few people were saying, oh no, you have to put them in the freezer for them to germinate and all of that. I don't think that is necessary personally because I literally just had them out at like 40, 50 degree temperatures for 7 days and I got really positive germination. So if that's something that you're interested in growing, definitely do that now. And I have a really big seed haul coming up with a few new flowers and lots of interesting exotic things to me that I have not ever grown before. So definitely check that out if you are interested coming up. I need to get my poppies planted out, the next video, and so many other things as well. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. My name is Shelby again, and until next time, bye.